Be a great one with the usual appointment, the weekly appointment on every Thursday, which is the office hour AMA, which I mean, over the last, I would say, month and a half, we've turned into a live stream, right? Because I would say it's better when probably the community can see us face to face, and also because it's been an intense period full of different milestones. I believe the first live stream was for the report, right? If I'm not mistaken, or the second one that we did. So it was an opportunity to actually show you guys what we've been up to. And then the second year anniversary came along. There's just like one milestone after the other. So the it's been an intense period, I would say, by intense in a good way. Markets have been choppy and volatile, to say the least, right? And what I love about our team from when these sort of when the markets goes through these sort of phases is that the focus just goes back to building. Not that it's not the like that anyway, but more even more so it stands out because there's a lot of chatter in the market, but the team just sort of follows the north star of building and listening to what the community has to say and essentially bringing to market solutions that tackle common needs and user pain points. So the theme for today will be to address the what can I say, the creativity that the team has experienced over the last 8 to 12 weeks, I would say, and to go into greater detail over the products. And today the focus will be on AutoGen and SafeSend. I think it's a good dichotomy because one is for builders. I mean, both are for builders, but for different kinds, right? Or different kinds of users. One is more for developers, I would say, although we are sort of facilitating more vibe coding features going forward. So anyone will be able to come in with an idea and basically go from 0 to 1 with whatever they're trying to do. And then the other one is SafeSend, which is for anyone out there who is dabbling with the token transfers and make the whole end-to-end process more secure. Apologies for the long-winded introduction. I'm joined by two powerhouses, Sheena and Alex. I'm sure everyone knows who you guys are, but if you want to introduce yourself again and probably share a few words of how your week has been, and then we'll get started.
Over to you, Sheena. Did you?
Okay, I just thought that since Eric and Alex have been doing so wonderful on the marketing side, I think you guys should just take the entire stage today. But yes, nevertheless, always happy and excited to be on this AMA. I think I've started looking forward for Thursdays at this time to come and interact with the community because there's so much that we do within the closed doors of NodeOps family. But the moment we get to interact with the larger audience there, and they're so super excited to know how the week went, that is really overwhelming. So far as my week is concerned, well, I think I did post something that I'm having a lot of FOMO about all my friends posting about Dev Connect. Notice, of course, is gonna be there at Dev Connect, but yeah, this time I'm gonna take a backstage of not being at the event physically. But there's no FOMO because it's all about chasing certain execution this time. And that's what I would like to say, that this week has been all about getting out something real, tangible, letting the community also feel and understand what NodeOps has shipped. So yeah, I think this whole week so far has been all about that.
Nice. And I think on my side, I like it because as a team, we are all working somehow secretly. We are all on stealth mode in some shape or form, and we always are cooking something, but we're also distributing how the tasks are being managed. So you will find that ourselves we are working independently as a team, so that we have our own project. So I have my own stealth stuff that I've been working on. So keep your eyes peeled. There is quite a lot from a marketing standpoint that we are cooking behind the scenes. Overall, of course, markets are what they are. So the overall sentiment is that of huddling together as a community to just as usual just make sure that we are keeping the spirits up, keeping the fundamentals in the right place, and making sure that we are working together to build on the fundamentals that are actually driving any type of market. And being in the market for 10 years plus, there is always a winter to a summer, there's always a summer to a winter. So, we know that it's cyclical, and that's absolutely fine. As far as NodeOps goes, there is zero influence over what is going on out there in the market. because 99% of what we do is actually building products. So really excited. And as a general question for everybody out there, listening in, I hope you like the new job titles. So I will introduce myself as a hype surgeon. That's the title of election, and I kind of like to see myself with a scalpel and making sure that it's surgically executed when it comes to growing in our presence. It's a little bit of a bloody job as well. There is a little bit of being on the cutting edge. I like the idea of being a surgeon on the cutting edge. And yeah, so it is, I hope that it is, your opinion is very well, welcome to also let us know what you think about that big shift that we have done.
Absolutely. And I said this, I think, in the last stream that it's sort of more of a reflection of our identity almost, right? And the more often than not, like everyone, titles are something that you inherit in a way because they're commonly understood concepts, right? Like so, but I think they're rather uh what can I say? Almost like they reduce what your role comes down to because in crypto you end up wearing so many hats. So you come on as an SMM, but let's be honest, like it's far from it. You just have to wear so many different hats, so many different functions, needs, responsibilities, which is I love is the beauty of it. So I think this our own titles sort of um, put us in the pilot seat, right, and let us tell our own story as per our own journey. And I think that level of accountability and autonomy and ownership is super important for everyone at NodeOps. And yeah, it's been great to see everyone sort of own up to it. And yeah, I think it's just we're just getting started. And on that front, right, because it's so hard to sort of reflect and sort of look at things from a bird's eye perspective and notice because things just happen at 100 mph, and every week is sort of like its own sprint in a way, right? So your head's down, just focus on execution, and you can't really sort of take a step back and understand what's happened over the last few weeks, and especially from a product standpoint, because as Alex correctly mentioned, there isn't really any other focus other than sort of delivering solutions for our users and yeah, just sort of iterating accordingly, because of course it's not that once the first sort of version hits the market you're sort of done. No, if the opposite, that's when the journey actually starts. So we started, I would say, like if you want to look at the sort of time frame of reference being like the last 3 months, the sprint, right? So the last sprint that we did, which I think we're going to do again, of course, and the product of that was if I'm not mistaken, peace of mind and awesome prompts, and the other one being SafeSend, right? Because it was a problem statement brought forward by a member of the team. So today we're going to address SafeSend and AutoGen, but those are just two of the solutions that we're actually working on. And there's another one that it's currently, it's been all week that we've been hinting at it. We won't sort of openly address it, but the community will sort of bit by bit get an understanding of what we're talking about. So how has the last few weeks been from, like, maybe provide what can I say, behind the scenes of your specific role and contribution when it comes to the building season of the last 2 to 3 months, right? Well, like, where do you come in, either for AutoGen or SafeSend, you name it, because I think that's helpful probably for the community to get an understanding of what actually happens behind the scenes for everyone.
For sure. So I think every cycle has a hype. Every cycle has something new to offer to bring in. And when it comes to node ops, for us, more than hype, more than noise, it's also important about the execution and what we are shipping. And that is, I think, where we have always tried to build the trust of the community. So I do hear a lot of people, because we did have our token launch this year, and it was in June 30th, and everybody was expecting that, it would be now that the token is out. So NodeOps is going to be more focused on that. And then, of course, I'll be very transparent here. Got a lot of DMs, got a lot of, conversations, which used to always revolve around, hey, the market is going down. It's not going the right direction. What's up with you? What's up? Like, what's your next plan of action? What's your GTM? And for me, that never intimidated me, for me or my project. because at the end of the day we are here to build, and that is what NodeOps had come up for. So irrespective, and I think we have told and spoken about it very openly several times, that even if in the team a few of us were involved heads down towards the token launch, because that's again an important part of my project, because that's like essentially the economic layer, but that did not mean that the other set of folks, or we did not do focus on what we are really here for, and that was about shipping. And I think with that focus in mind, that was parallelly always going on, that never had a pause, irrespective of what was happening on the node token side. So, like our founder would say, laying the context of my next points. So, I have laid down the context. So, what's been happening in the last 3 months is, the best part was about that internal hackathon that we did within the team. And that was something really amazing, because, when you're working in a team, it's not always essential that, we all discuss in a boardroom and we give instructions and we ask the rest of the team to work in that. Instead, what we preferred was to take another approach where we give them a hackathon challenge, and we ask them to come up with certain products. And I think that was the same time, which I've told this so many times, I made an error in sending out a transaction, putting it on a wrong network. And that's when I got gifted the safe send, so that at least I should be the last person ever to do that error. And those who know me personally, I'm very apprehensive to use a lot of automated tools, because somewhere I still believe in going back to the basics, though it might take more time, but I like to keep it very foolproof. But with SafeSend, the story completely changed. I know it took a lot of time and effort for the team to even ask me to go onto that platform, but I knew it was coming from NodeOps. There's absolutely going to be nothing that's going to create a glitch for me or create any issues for me. And there would be sufficient support available for any end user or any naive user to use it. So when it came to SafeSend, I think my whole focus was, I used to always think about people from my perspective, that there are so many out there. So when you talk about Web3, or the end users we are looking at, we cannot restrict it to people who are actually shipping or building or into the Web3 space. We bring in adoption, we bring in change, and we bring in the next level of evolution, where we're able to make this accustomed to a lot more people who are still not into the game. And with SafeSend, the whole my at least focus was to ensure that this goes to those people who who do transactions, are scared, are apprehensive, are learning, so that they don't lose at least a token. And I know about all the testimonials that we got from several people who work around with us, are several stakeholders, that in the initial olden days they wish they had this kind of a tool. So the moment you hear that kind of a feedback, you get a pure validation, and you have a separate set of motivation to keep going. So with SafeSend, of course, this was one, and then like it's again no hidden truth that people from South Korea, like they're like different age group of people who have got into trading. They have regular education sessions and all, and then we were able to penetrate this product through some of our partners, and get that kind of generation also using SafeSend. So the focus was more on that, and getting these kind of validations was extremely exciting when it came to SafeSend. And today, I think I'm pretty happy the way people have started using it, made it like a ritual. So there's no more like, let me send a test transaction, go back, drop a hash. Then again, I'm always very scared the second time when I'm putting again the final. What if something goes off my mind and I put in a wrong network in the hurry? So I have totally, been able to skip that step, which is such a saver for me, because honestly, now revealing it, when I do a test transaction, it's a very small amount, so I'm very happy. Even if I do a error, it's just a few very small bucks. And when I have to do the rest of the payment, I am even more scared, because maybe what if I had there was a glitch, or there was a refresh or something out of my mind, a phone call comes and I just put a wrong network. So from that perspective, I think I've been very happy, and the focus was, like I said, to try to get maximum adoption. We understood the problem, we sorted out the problem, and we just made it life simple. So that's my feel about SafeSend. Alex, I think Autogen, you will be like the perfect person to walk us through this whole.
I, from my standpoint, on one hand, you had the product, right? We want to, so the entire architecture of NodeOps, if you see it, right, it's two heads. One is the end product, the other is the engine underneath the product that we're building. So we're looking at the crypto user as the end user for all the products that we're building. But then equally, like as it was with node operations and node as a service, there is always the technical side of building the infrastructure and the product that enabled that end product to exist. So I think in the last probably 4 weeks to 6 weeks, there has been a really intentional, very deliberate move for us to see how we can be a multiplier by looking under the hood, right? And look at how we can exponentially grow the utility of the node token by being used in end users' product through building a technical product that can make it extremely easy to go from zero to revenue to go to market to using the node token for a product as seamlessly as possible with the lowest possible barrier to get there. So with that in mind, and it is not a simple product, not a simple product, not a simple business objective to achieve, because we have to speak both the end user crypto product language from an engineering standpoint, from a user experience standpoint, from a marketing GTM, and also from a builder standpoint, a technical or a developer, deeply complex infrastructure language as well. So holding that complexity and try to maintain that diversity, but making it also make sense as a unified exercise, marketing wise, has been a bit of a nightmare, but in a good way, right? When I see personally, I don't know if that's true for everybody, but when I get a very difficult puzzle to solve, that's when I really come alive. And this is a very difficult, complex 4D, 5D chess that we had to figure out. And you will see the outcome of this from a branding, from a positioning standpoint. But the first outcome of this is actually a product, the under the hood engine. And then Autogen is the it's in an infrastructure very usable, low code, no code that can. Have I lost connection, or can you still see me? Yeah, still here.
Oh, it's okay now. Back. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I lost a bit somewhere. So Autogen is that under the hood engine. And now we are making it available to anybody. We tested it first. Dog fooding is always the first step for us. Hence that prototype session where we just got together, worked literally day and night for 7 days, including weekends. Just came up with concepts and then tested our platforms and came out with a productive exercise with 3 products gone out in 7 days, which is absolutely outstanding. But the message here is that with Autogen, anybody can do exactly the same. And I'm not a technical person. Eric, has, of course, we have a technical understanding, but we're not developers, we're not engineers. So Ishina, yet we were among the most active and proactive also in building the technical side, like the requirements, the product aspects, the user experience side, which usually is locked out of the non-deeply technical people. So that is in general the wave of vibe coding, but we wanted to really build one stack at a time. And Autogen comes first as essentially a substitute for a Vercel. So that's the really under the hood part. So if the under the hood is the tech, this is the infrastructure part of the technical side. And then we can just get into the details, but I don't want to just get straight into it. There is tons to talk about in terms of features. Just know that the overarching 6 weeks that we have just come to an end, they're just preparing for the end of Q4, is really around finding that story, that thread that unifies the end user experience for crypto with our infrastructure and technical wisdom and knowledge and capabilities at the engineering level. And we do have that unified architecture that is powered with the beating heart of the node token.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think we'll delve into the new features, right, of Autogen, because it's been exciting to witness, right? It was just the beginning, the first version. When we went out live, it was almost like a beta of a beta, you could say. Like right now, it's evolved so much in less than 4 weeks. So this is just the beginning for AutoGen, and I think no better person than Alex to then actually delve into what users can actually expect. And something that I can sort of speak to, because I'm seeing this as we're speaking with external stakeholders and stuff, is that I don't know if this is the same for you, Alex and Sheena, is like wherever and whoever you speak to, there's a way for AutoGen as an infra, as a sort of like as a piece of the mosaic to fit within that specific partner's infra stack. Like one way or another, there is an actual place and role for AutoGen to potentially either optimize hosting, optimize deployment, or be there. Like I don't want to sort of go into it because otherwise I end up spilling too much. But it's crazy to see, and I think that's when infra is almost at its most powerful, when you don't necessarily have to understand, at least from my perspective, what's going on behind the scenes, but so long that it's actually improving the experience for the end user, whoever may be in this instance, right? Could be someone just coming onto a website, could be someone who wants to upload their project onto a hackathon, could be someone who wants their app to be more performant. It doesn't really matter, and that's literally how AutoGen was a sort of idealized in a way, and then thought of, and then executed to just make the whole overall experience seamless. So this is just something that I wanted to speak to, because we spoke to a partner yesterday, but I don't want to go into it. But that said, we build for literally everyone, right? Like it's a pretty wide ranging set of users that we have. Like you go from builders to retail users to infrastructure, node players, because of course for the NAS. So from both your perspective, right, given your wide array of roles and responsibilities, how are you able to juggle that? Like, do you sort of switch mindset based on the product, or do you have a mindset or like an approach that is sort of the same for everyone, in the sense that it's like, okay, these are my 4 or 5 questions that I ask every time I need to maybe prepare like a go to market, which I know is going to be the priority for any human. So it doesn't really matter what solution I'm actually discussing, or because it's not easy, right? Like, to say the least. And I've got my own approach, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say.
Should I take this one first? We'll reverse this question. So I take my personal experience as a musician. I don't know if you guys know, but before getting into crypto, getting into marketing, getting into business, my first career was as a concert pianist. That was my job. So with that in mind, I'm very familiar with the idea of an orchestra. You have everybody that is playing their own tune, but everybody is still collaborating towards the same outcome. Quite literally, you're orchestrating, an individual contribution, individual need, an individual tune, but the addition of all of these individuals do make a collective that it is greater than an individual voice. So very, very, similarly for me, when you're looking at Web3 ecosystem as a whole, and then each product as an ecosystem, and NodeOps definitely is not just a product, is an ecosystem of products, then you're seeing all complementary voices coming together. Because the token holder as node, retail investor is as fundamental as the builder and the developer that is doing a hackathon and building with AutoGen. And so is the end user of SafeSend as a product. Nobody can be taken out without the entire system suffering. It is an additive exercise where you are speaking to everybody in an individualized way. So you have to tailor the message, you have to understand what the needs are, what's the pool, what's the vision, and you are adapting all of this. But then they come together, and it makes the entirety of NodeOps very easy to perceive as one, if done correctly. So from a marketer standpoint, that is the exercise. So listen to every single instrument, just make sure that everybody is, in tune and in time and with the right proportion, and that everybody still is coming together in harmony.
Yeah, so that's actually very beautifully,
Mhm.
told by Alex. I could actually, so I'm a person, whenever I'm listening to someone, I have my own visions that keep going in my head. So the way she narrated, I could so, relate to that. But yeah, personally, when it comes to me, maybe because, see, I remember one thing that, one of my partners at EY had once said, which has all like I've stuck to it very closely since then. He always said that when it comes to big fours, essentially four big fours are doing the same thing. They're reading the same tax law. They're dealing with the same set of people externally. Probably they're the same set of lawyers who are fighting for your litigation. So what is that different that you are doing to bring, why are we ranking, the big fours at the end of the day in different regions? And he said for him it was two things. One was quality without any error. So even if you are in a hurry to ship, you want to just go out, but you should never do this unless until you're 100% ready and it's 100% foolproof. So quality was something that I still remember the old days, even if so we used to take a lot of printouts of submissions and all, which used to be like bulky 100 pages. And even if there was a small error with the capital, he would ask us to take a reprint. Because, the moment you have to remove a the or anything, the whole page setup goes, and you mean that next, you need to end up taking more printouts. So that was a kind of quality that, he always expected, though somebody might just skip, it's not that big, but there cannot be any compromise. So that is one thing that I always try to ensure. Second is to always talk about time. Time is the essence. So and especially in the market where we are right now, the competition it's fierce. It's a cutthroat, competition. And the moment you go out with an idea, never feel that, there will be nobody else coming up with that idea. Probably they might ship something faster than you, something with one more feature, and it's very easy for people to move from one product to the other. So keeping that in mind, I've always tried to ensure that it's completely error-free, seamless. So the moment somebody's trying it for the first time, he should not get stuck anywhere. He should not have any challenges. So I try to, have a foolproof. I know I ask so many questions to the team. Sometimes I write one message and then it's followed up by 10 more messages that I send. I mean, I cannot forget yesterday Sagar's expression. I called him up. I need something. He's like, why is every ask of yours ASAP? And it actually feels like what Sid said last time, her every deadline is yesterday. But yeah, I mean, somewhere I feel that time, and at the same time, no compromise with the quality. Understand who are your end users, what are they looking for, and if you're able to hit that, what they're looking for. That's why I say goal focused. I use some words very frequently. So that is when it comes to when something comes to me that I'm supposed to handle or ship out or talk about it. I want to be like completely, checklisted on these points. And yeah, I mean, the team is of course great. They always try to ensure that, it's like every team member also I've noticed before they send out something, they have themselves try to test it out, try it out in different modes. I'll also draw one more aspect about the team. Whenever somebody creates something that goes on out on our internal group, and we're asked to give any issues, any challenges we face, bug issues, and that's how we try it several times before we even go out for any further testing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a thin line between quality and execution, right? But maybe like answer this as concisely as you can between both of you. Like, how do you go about the identification of the target audience for any given product, right? Because I think that's everything when it comes to a product is only as good as it's being used, in the sense that like you could have the shiniest iPhone, but if it was left on someone's shelf or Steve Jobs' shelf and you never told anyone about it, of course this is very sort of hypothetical because there was a lot of people working on the product and he didn't just sort of wake up and create it. But the you have to tell a story with each product almost, right? So how is NodeOps able to, what can I say, tell the story for each product differently, right? So because of course the initial story of Autogen will be different than the initial story for SafeSend. It's just the way it is because it's tackling a different magnitude of problem, I would say, because Autogen is a more complex solution, and it's got almost a more ambitious objective, right, rather than SafeSend, which is more targeted, right, as a user need. So and also, do you think that sorry, just to make this concise, because I'm seeing this myself, but the more you do this on a repetitive basis, the better just NodeUps becomes as a business in general, right? Because you like the more often you do it, you're able to train this muscle, and you're not always catering to the same sort of set and cohort of customers, and you always have to switch, but do it well. Other teams might not have this necessity, right, to switch and execute to that level of quality. Do you think that's a good trait to have, and something that might make NodeUp stand out in the medium to long term? Apologies for the long-winded question, but I want to make the most of having you guys here.
Sheena, you want to go first?
See, again, what you mentioned, Eric, I mean, it's very much true. And what I can, like, if I have to just summarize in a single line, I think having a geographically distributed team, having folks from different backgrounds, and look at you, Eric, like you also come, like you have worked highly in the finance field, you were working heavily on the sustainability as well, right? So you are able to bring in your own set of experiences and how you want to map it, right? Whenever I've seen you, like within the team also, when you're looking at something, you have a very different way of handling it and trying to do that value addition. Looking at Alex, she's stayed in the UK, she's worked for such a long time with bigger brands like Google, and she carries a lot of experience from there. And then even the rest of the team, if you see, like some of them are super young who just came out of college, so young blood, Dejan. So I think each one of us has our own set of vision of kind of handling something. So that has been fabulous. Like Juliana, I mean, she works absolutely opposite our clock, but when she comes in and she has her own set of handling, like Autogen, the way she took it beautifully on Dora Hack, that was amazing. And because of that, we are seeing even more penetration coming for Autogen. So I think in terms of marketing, like you said, like every product that we come out would have a very diverse way of pushing it across, and it doesn't stop there. That's why we call about scaling, right? If SafeSend, if you just stop at those 4 chains that we are supporting today, and we're not able to come up with a V2 version or try to improvise it along with the requirements of the market, it will come, it will stay, but it'll just stay to a particular level. So I think that's been pretty instrumental to where we have come today. So I think that's my way of looking at your question that you asked.
Yeah, and definitely echo with what Sheena said. It has to be with the distribution that is for each market is different, right? So it's about understanding that as we push a message as a team, like there is something that addresses the needs of the other side. And sometimes people, especially marketers, forget that it's about people on the other side. It's not about masses, faceless masses or numbers. Though we are always measured in numbers, we are actually speaking on a one-on-one to a person, even at scale. So you're looking, that person probably has on one side, like a more concrete need, like something, that a problem they need to solve with your product, but try to understand what that pain point might be, and then explain, like enable that person to make the decision and understand that what you have actually is going to solve that problem in a very effective way. But the other are more intangible, I think, intangible needs that the other side as a person might have. So it is not a concrete problem. It's more about espousing a vision or something that the product can give to them as belonging to a community, to a mission, to a vision, espousing a way of living, a way of building a product. That's when we are really trying our best to express our personal values as part of what we do as at a product level as well. But transparency is a way of living. It's not necessarily a feature. The idea of being accountable, again, you cannot put a button that says accountability on SafeSend, but then every time anyone is picking any button on SafeSend, they know that it comes with an intention to be accountable and transparent. And I think that adds really value. That said, we weave in a message, but we're also humble enough to know that once it's out there, it is co-created by those that are picking it up and taking it for themselves or spreading it further. Whether it's a regional ambassador lead, now we have spread our ambassador team to be more specialized and with more regional presence, whether it's someone who has an existing large community, KOLs, and other type of groups. Again, they will make it theirs. They will interpret it with their own framework, and then they will reshape it. And it's for them to make it theirs, as long as we believe that what we put out there is consistent with our values and is accurate depiction of what the product is. It's not overselling or giving misinformation or not doing good justice to what the product actually does. Then I think we've done a good job, and in that way, I think it spreads, organically, as we've always tried to do so far.
For sure. And yeah, there was a lot that you guys said, and yeah, of course, I would chat at length, but time is of the essence, right? That's with everything. But something that I think we were lucky to do with Autogen, well, maybe I'm seeing this more from my perspective because I'm more involved now, is that we're chatting with. We actually talked about this in one of the previous lives, and also with Naman present, about actually listening to what the initial users have to say, right, about Autogen. And inevitably, you have to do this specifically with builders because they are needy, rightfully so, demanding for, you're asking them to potentially, what can I say, evaluate your solution versus another that is actually working. So yours has to be working to the same level, if not better. So you have to listen to the feedback and comments that they provide, and it's an amazing experience, right? Because I think if you're able to deliver right on their asks and probably go a little bit beyond, which is what the backend team does and the product team does. I would say always, every time. These customers will be happy, and Alex, as you mentioned, they will one way or another, even without us asking them, become our extended team, right? Because they'll say, hey, like I had a great experience with Autogen for X, Y, and Z. You should try it out. And then through word of mouth, the magic happens of the most sort of organic way of marketing a product, which is actually by use rather than us telling you, hey, like it's great for X, Y, and Z reason. So that was great. And when it comes to Autogen, right? It will be the focus for the team, along with, of course, other products for the next year, right? The goal is to onboard as many builders as possible. So, how are we planning to do so, and what's being cooked in the kitchen, you could say, in terms of additional features, Alex?
Sure. So as you see, like we have this. It is an initial, very well designed initial feature, and it's going to be additive, right? It's going to just continuously improve with new addition. Just now you've got all the basics that you need. So you have a repo, you have a Dockerized kind of deployment. You can just use whatever you have, and then you deploy it very quickly from your existing code base. Then you just go, you do your custom domain, you can manage that. You can have all the kind of runtime analytics that you want to have. It is very basic. So each of these functions can actually be expanded. And you do have real-time analytics, but it is not fully developed. You have logs. Again, it is very nascent. It is very complete. It's very horizontal, but not a lot of depth in each of them. Otherwise, we will already be in AWS. And there are a lot of arguments of not becoming as complex as in AWS, of course. So from our standpoint, the first big bucket of innovation that we want to develop further, we have already an AI-powered sandbox that includes AI-assisted coding as an environment, but we really want to take it a step further. So have a fully interface that will have vibe coding capabilities. So that includes not just the deployment of the backend, but also the mid layer and then the front end. So that's something that you should look at as the next step. And to me, that is very, very important because thank you to all the fans. Hello to Jean and to everybody. It's always nice to see, the energy in the room. It's really always high. So, and the message here is that anyone, even those that don't have technical depth, by using semantic prompts, so that's the same that you would use with an LLM, you express an intention, and that intention is transformed into coding, and then that coding is transformed into deployment. So you just express what is that you want to do, and then AutoGen will do all the hard work for you. The vision for the product is really to democratize product development from scratch, not just for traditional products, but also for Web3, which is a hard stop for a V0 and Cursor and so on. So that's directionally the very first bucket of innovation that you can see. Then for all of these Vibe generated projects, we really want to do instant deployment so that whatever you're deploying, you can just go leverage NodeOps compute and then deliver. You see, like we're going full circle. All these components, all these like individual instruments are coming together to play, to the same tune. And then in the same way, there would be auto-scaling infrastructure. It's a very hard problem to solve for infrastructure products. That means that once you have a deployment and you have a lot of requests that are unplanned or unexpected, you have to scale your infrastructure accordingly. Either you have someone that is very stressed, DevOps person, who is, on the phone at midnight, just doing what they have to do. And there are plenty, like kudos to all the DevOps out there doing God's work and, making sure the infrastructure runs. But the most efficient and less stressful way is to actually have auto scaling at the back. So that's when our infrastructure is very intelligent as directing and redirecting all the workloads that you have towards appropriate amount of resources for the scaling. And equally is not going to overbill you, because if you're using less, then it will auto scale back exactly and precisely to the needs that you do have. So these are some. The other one that is very, very important, I don't want to forget, is our marketplace. As you build products on AutoGen, you can deploy them as part of our marketplace. Next phase would be full monetization of what you have on the marketplace. So that's, again, full circle. That means that Node as a utility would be added to a great extent, because every deployment on the marketplace will be underpinned by Node token. Then the person that is deploying, building with AutoGen and deploying, they will monetize their own code, their own invention. And then anyone who is coming to AutoGen will be able to deploy those innovations that someone else has built, the community has built and provided, to make their life even better as a builder. So it's very elegant, very simple, and we're working really hard to get there as quickly as possible.
No, like, yeah, it's beyond exciting. And with the last bit of your answer, you also touched on something that I wanted to, because we're approaching the last part of the session. The question I wanted to ask both of you next is, with the team always, because we don't like to restrict ourselves, right? Like we could very easily say, hey, like we want to cater, let's just say, I'm just making this up on the spot, only for builders. So AutoGen will, you know what I mean, have like an ever-growing suite of products and be similar to, because for example, if we're solely doing vibe coding, you could be sort of compared to a Lovable or a Base 44, but it does so much more than that, right? So like it's an ever-growing idea, right, and construct. So how, which I think to me, like I'm coming to my next point, which I think to me is almost a guarantee for node holders, right? Like it's almost like an element of insurance, because everything we do is underpinned by Node. And if you have a team that is so creative and so fruitful and productive, right, and is able to bring to market so many different solutions, and you have like a garage that always has more cars in it, and like as part of the what can I say, the body of the car, is almost, because I wouldn't say it's powered by Node, but maybe you could say that the gasoline is Node within all these cars. Like it makes me bullish. Of course I'm extremely biased, but what I wanted to ask you both of you is, how does Node, like at the product ideation stage, right? At which level is Node? At which level does Node enter the conversation? So, like, because I know where. I just wanted to hear from both of you. So, both maybe with SafeSend and AutoGen, those, you could use those as use cases.
Okay. So if you're just trying, you're just simplifying and reclarifying that we're trying to understand that while we are shipping or building where are we also bringing in the angle of Node and strengthening it, right?
Correct.
So well, because I mean, I kind of spend a lot of time with Naman as well. Like all of you know, like every time I think I'm the one who takes up his maximum time over calls. But whenever there's a product come, I think for us, trying to pin it to any kind of a value or economic layer is typically the last leg of that, life cycle of the product that we're bringing. Like honestly, if I tell you, when it came to SafeSend also, so though right today we have more than 4K transactions and volume is more than 1.4 mil, but I don't know, like you guys will I think agree with me that that was never as a KPI. The KPI was never into numbers. It's about building the trust, and that I think we won. And I mean, even when we did the marketing or we had the GTM, it was never in line to kind of achieve something, but it was more to let people get over their anxiety and have more transactions which just get them off their mind with a basic problem that all of us face somewhere or the other. But yes, because now that we have a token, and it's also important that our initial holders or believers in the project, we have to ensure that we are able to, add value to what, when we made the tokenomics, there was a commitment about the value that we were adding on the economic layer. So in terms of that, I mean, even if you look at a tokenomics, there is an allocation that we have given, right? What goes back to our contributors, what goes back to our stakers, what goes back to our compute providers. So from that perspective, I think this automatically just plugs in the moment we have the community trust and we have people joining us. So I don't think so there is per se anything key focus that we have there, but eventually with the adoption we have been able to achieve it. So it's more like passively that it's coming in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think to me, like there is also another facet to this, which is to look at how we can accelerate the utility of Node beyond what is the initial, the initial white paper, the initial concept. And many projects out there unfortunately find a hard wall because they're building one product and that product needs usage and that usage is proportionate to the use of the token. Then there is a TVL, hardline, and that's about it, right? So they are limited to whatever that one product can do. We have taken a sidestep, and I think it's a strategic long game that will pay off greatly because we are building the multipliers, not just the individual products. With building an autogen, we are building not one tree, but a nursery of trees. We're building like an ecosystem that will create so many products using Node. And some of them we will be creating, some of them the community will create. So it's a really like a pure ecosystem approach to the utility of the node that is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Like this is really something that is really exciting. So you have all that we have promised on the tokenomics, which is around the usage of the node token as part of the compute, the renting, the yield, the staking. All of that DeFi use cases are there and they're growing. So actually we forgot, but maybe it's for the next AMA on discussing more what's going to happen on that side of the plan. And that is always there. Then you have the usage of the products that we have. There is always a value exchange that has either Gnode or the node token itself. You have SafeSend, you have all the products that are there that will have usage in that sense. And then you have, of course, the governance. It's always there. Actually, keep voting, guys. We have peeps that keeps coming out. Some of will come very soon as well. So keep your eyes peeled. Participate. Do govern. This is, your product as, token holders. This is for you, to drive. And then with Autogen and all the products that we're building with the back, you can like literally have exponential number of products that are built on top. So from your side, even as a token holders, now that we are removing the barrier of technical knowledge to build products, think of yourself as creators. Come to Autogen with a creator's mindset. Come in terms of thinking a product that you can talk about, and then Autogen will do the hard work of transforming it into a product, technical level. So all of you literally can become creators of applications that will use Node token. So that is the bigger vision. Get usage of Node in the hands of everybody, and everybody can build products very, very easily, very, very quickly.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's a powerful message, and yeah, you could look at it like almost we're building the playground and inviting people to play and create, right? Because I think creating is such a pure um human act if you actually think about it, like because you're actually creating, like, you're channeling your creativity, which could be anything really, and any use case can be facilitated and enabled on Autogen. So it could be a game, could be a social app, could be an AI tool, right? And of course, like as Alex correctly mentioned, it is something that we're not gonna say it's not the final. It probably never will be a final form because um, the team is always in tune with what the community is asking. So there will be always something more that we can deliver on and add a new feature and refine. But yeah, I'm super excited about Autogen, and we will probably have this conversation again. Although we have more in the coming weeks. But I think I wanna probably have another one with you two in 12 months and see how far we've come, right? In terms of looking back, because it's as I mentioned with a team. I think from the outside looking in, I have other friends in the space who ask me, it's like, oh, so how big is the BD team or marketing team at NodeUps? Like it looks like you guys are always beyond busy, and it's like people just don't understand how much we're able to produce and actually put out in the world based on the headcount that we have. So it's it's great, and this was just sort of like a general attestation to the team, because it's fun. Like it's just fun. Essentially, I think that's what it boils down to. And these products are a consequence of the team. A, listen to the community, because I keep mentioning this, but also B, having fun, because I think the team wouldn't be doing this unless they were having fun, solving problems and bringing to market solutions that tackle such issues. So guys, we're approaching the last stretch of this session and the last stretch of the year. So how will this build a first approach and mentality actually continue in the coming weeks? Is there anything you'd like to share? And then we'll take it. We'll end the session.
Well, building will never stop, that's for sure. That is what we have been here. Like yesterday, it was very overwhelming when someone said that, even today, when I look at Node Ops, the first thing strikes me is that when last season was about the Node season, you guys killed it through that. Uh, Anybody who wanted the infra provision, it was Node Ops. And I think that is the key to a good builder, that we understand what's the pulse of the market, what's the requirement of the market, and we keep scaling. And I think with every product launch that we have done, we have been substantiating this fact. So, just relating it, because I also handle the token side of things. So I think I cannot stop myself from saying this punchline, though it may sound a little flingy. But yeah, like every node, everything requires energy. We are here to provide that energy, and our token is there to ensure that it fuels that energy. So I think that is a very quick summary of what I would like to place on the table before signing off from this AMA.
Yeah, on my side, there are different ways to create, and we really want to invite everybody to come and build from their standpoint, their perspective, whether that's creating social network around us, whether it's creating content, building awareness, whether it's creating a product, whether that's creating new infrastructure, new ideas, new concepts. Everybody has a place within NodeOps as an ecosystem. So of course we are leading the charge as core team, but as Eric mentioned, it's a very lean team. We are absolutely positive that the mission of NodeOps goes way beyond what any individual team can ever pull off. So we are calling for the entire ecosystem, the entire community to join us very actively, continues to pitch, to participate, to find spaces, and if you find a gap, to pitch to us how to fill it, because we are very open to just delegate and let the community take it that step further. in more concrete terms, expect a few products coming up, a few product updates coming up, and some new exciting changes from a marketing standpoint, which I will say nothing about, but just know that it's happening. And I'm very, very excited that that's my contribution. That's my part of the creation to the NodeOps ecosystem.
And what a contribution. Yeah, it's exciting weeks ahead, and the team is. We almost don't look at a calendar, you could say, in a way, like it's just building week after week. So it doesn't really matter if the year is ending and the new one's beginning. That's almost the element of insurance, right? For not only like node holders, just like I would say NodeOps network participants in general, that won't change, right? If it's crypto winter, crypto summit, doesn't really matter. Whatever the season, the product first, user first, revenue first mentality will never change. It will never go out of fashion. So, Sheena, Alex, has been a pleasure, honestly, to chat to you. And yeah, I think what you've witnessed in the last few weeks is just a taste of, and it's also, as Alex mentioned, the product of us, like the core team, sort of dabbling and utilizing the NodeOps network stack to bring to life something, right? Imagine what we'll be able to do with once these multipliers are in fact and in place. Sorry, that the community will be able to come forward and contribute with their own creativity using the tools that we put at their disposal. It'll be amazing, like to witness the avalanche effect, right? And to see. So probably in the future we'll have streams with NodeOps creators coming on and them actually presenting what their creations will be. So this is just the start, and yeah, thank you very much. Until next time.
Thank you, everybody.